Hey, I hope you're well. I'm gonna have you look at, well, let's see, what pretty view can I give you? Let's look at that. Well, no, let's look at Gaia. There you go. Oh, come on. That does kind of look cool, though. Better? Is that better? No. Anyway, um, I want to give you a little pep talk, okay? And I don't want to be looking at the camera because I want to speak directly from the heart. I want to have my eyes closed and I want to let the Holy Spirit speak through me. And just just have a seat and listen, okay? What I've experienced the recent few days has been an absolute roller coaster. Now, I know when I say that some of you have assumptions of what I actually experienced, but you weren't there every second. Okay? The recent few days, let alone the 41 years that I've been alive, but we're going to focus on the recent 24 to 72 hours that have passed. It is 12:30 a.m. right now. It's been raining and it's Thursday, February 10th. It hasn't rained in a while. And I noticed it was raining when I started. I was crying a little bit earlier watching Raising Dion, and there was a scene with the mother where she went into a battle with her kid, her superpowered kid, to help him, and the mother didn't have any powers, but she threw herself in front to help. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. It was so beautiful, so beautiful. And I saw that, and I couldn't even contain myself from not crying. It was a complete release. And I watched it and I had my realizations, and a few minutes later another negative thing happened. I pushed it down and pushed it down, and I'm like, I'm not going to feel fear. I'm not going to be, sad over the other stuff. I'm going to let my emotions flow, but it's not going to be because somebody, is threatening me or that they're taking things away or fucking with my bank accounts or any of that stuff. If I'm going to cry, it's going to be because of something beautiful. And it felt like something clicked, and I didn't acknowledge it. So I went on and started trolling Facebook, just looking at posts and having a cup of water. And I'm like, okay, let's just chill out and everything. And then I saw that thing where it's like farewell, Celeste, with the name of a daughter from a different life and all that. And it kind of broke my heart, and it kind of made me feel I felt a little afraid. I'll be honest, because I've gotten those messages like that before, and every time I receive them, something really fucked up happened in my life. So I was like prepared for something terrible, but I wasn't afraid. I sat down, I turned the TV off, and I couldn't even sit down. I sat down with my glass of water and I got back up and went into the kitchen. And as I was walking to the kitchen, I noticed my thoughts are going bananas. And I started noticing my thoughts, and it was like they were alien to me. It was very strange. And I thought, like, I had another thought during those thoughts where it interrupted the thought, like an interruption signal. And when that happened, I noticed my emotions are completely different than my thoughts, and my body's doing something completely different than anything else. I'm getting water, but my thoughts are like scrolling like a news feed, and my emotions are unstable in a way where I wasn't feeling one thing for an extended period of time. It was like water. It was fear and joy and peace and calm and anxiety. And I thought, what the fuck is this? And I just stood there in the kitchen And I talked to God while washing the plate I had over there from making a sandwich and eating my little shrimpies, which are really good, by the way. I fried them up in butter and garlic powder and pepper and sea salt, and it was so good. So good. And I was talking to God, and then I noticed I'm feeling a lot of anger while I'm talking to God. And God obviously knows that I'm feeling angry, so I'm not going to hide it. And I don't know how to say this politely to you really religious folk, but I talked to God as if he or she was in front of me. And I went off like, how dare you do this to me? How dare you leave me like this for all these years and, have me go through all this stuff and then go through my family and have all them turn their backs to me. And then all the people in the world, every time I've ever trusted anybody, it was like a slap in the face to me. And I just kept letting it all out while I'm washing the dishes. And I noticed I'm only washing one cup. And then I just stood there for a minute and thinking, what the fuck is this? And I got really upset and I put the cup in the drying rack and I sat down on the computer and I clicked Facebook open and I'm like, I'm just not even going to talk to you, God. Why am I going to talk to you when you're constantly helping everybody else and you're using me to benefit everybody else? And then it was like a moment of realization, like, what if this is my life? And, the next step is being sacrificed for something where my energy is released into the world's atmosphere and ether and the energy field of the earth and the ley lines and all that. And then everybody benefits from what I knew. And it took me, I don't know how long I sat here thinking about that, but the realization I had with it was I'm absolutely okay with not being here, and not in a sad way. It was as if I saw the big picture of everyone's lives throughout the entire tapestry of life. We come in, we learn things, we die, our energy dissipates into the ethers, our consciousness goes and takes, another form, and then we experience life there. I've had so many near death experiences. I've been to the other side, I've been back, I've been in the middle spaces, I've gone through purgatory, I've gone through hell realms, astral realms, dream realms. I've never been afraid of dying. So it wasn't a thing of like, oh, I'm so scared of dying. No, it was more like well, if this is it, then I guess I've done what I'm here to do, right? And there was a sense of peace and calm that went over me. And while I was thinking about this, the memory of that dream I had a while ago with that witch that was doing feces magic and laughing at ancestors in the underworld being burned alive, and she was sitting there eating popcorn, watching them. And I thought, uh-uh, this can't be it. And if it is, like, I accept it, but something doesn't seem right. And when I refreshed Facebook, there was a post about the keys of Hecate. And then it was like the word key became key in my mind and it unlocked something. And I felt the hands of Hecate and Christ on my head, and it was like a light bulb went off. And what I saw in my mind was dark energy coming towards light energy. And instead of melting into each other, they turned into the yin yang. And then it clicked again in my mind where it's like everything is working for our good, for our benefit. Every single thing. And then all the things I knew kind of flooded through my mind about death and life and transmutation. And it was like a ding, 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 level up. And I just sat there thinking, oh my God, fear is a gift. It is an absolute gift. It is a motivator. It is a energy to be used as transmutation. It is energy that is used as a weapon. It is energy that is used as a shield. And the only fucked up thing that we forget about fear is that we choose to feel it and then we choose to be victimized by it. Like all those scary movies and all the superhero movies and everything where they're like cowering in a corner, beaten and bruised up. And every time I've seen them in movies and movie theaters, I'm like, why is that bitch not getting up and fighting? And I'm sitting here having all these thoughts, and then it turned like it was like I saw myself from the outside, and I noticed myself sitting in the chair, not getting up and not fighting. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the bitch in the movie. And then I recognized I'm not allowing myself to feel fear at all. I simply have become so accustomed to being abused that I got used to being in a state of like, what is that word? Like indifference and creation, like neutral creation of things. And I recognized the key I'm missing is the power of fear. And I got up, I stretched my back, I moved around the house, the apartment, and I was just looking around the apartment thinking, look at all the shit I've built so far, just on my own. This beautiful, peaceful home, all the jewelry I made myself, not buying any of it except for this beautiful gift. Well, I didn't make this one or this one. This one I bought for myself for my birthday, and this one was like from 2011. Anyway, fear is a gift. And when we choose to be victimized by it, it's actually nobody victimizing us. It's us doing it to ourselves. So all these beep beep, I don't know if you just heard that outside. So all these people, the gang stalkers, the elites, the archons that are doing shady shit, AI programs that are like, non-emotional and they're just cruel and all that or whatever, or we perceive them as cruel. It's all our choice to respond specifically to specific emotions. But because we're emotional beings, it's like water moving through us, and some people don't know how to move that water. It's kind of like this. If each of those little sparkles is an emotion, we're going through life like this all the time. And then someone comes and does this, and we're like, oh my God, you're shaking the world. It's scary, it's scary, it's scary. But it's not. So far in my life, I have been so fucking blessed, even though I've been isolated and preserved and all that stuff, right? But I've still been given the experiences of peace. And it's been a choice because I had a choice today to give up and just leave this planet or choose to stay. And I had to really think about it for a minute because I really don't know what the fuck I'm even doing here anymore. Like, what was the point? Blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that's an emotion I'm feeling, and my mind is analyzing that emotion and it's translating into the language. And the language is being repeated in my mind as words. And then my emotions are being affected by those words. But the emotions don't have to make the words. I can control the emotions. And then a sense of fear came so deeply through me, like a cold knife. And then I felt Hecate and Christ again saying, hold it. And I sat there holding fear in me. And I felt it and I felt it and I got goosebumps and I was shaking and I started sweating. And they just kept saying, hold it, stay with it, hold it. And then I started crying a little bit, like tears were coming down my eyes. And they're like, just stay in fear. And then I got angry. And then I know, like, I started wanting to argue with them. And then I heard my ancestors saying, listen, child, be still, be still. And I sat still. I didn't move. I stayed still. My body was shaking. And they're like, feel the fear. You could die right now. Feel the fear. And I did. And then the more I felt it, it was as if that fear turned into a fucking black dragon in front of me. And it's like shifted into this cloud of all the horrible things in the world. And then it bowed before me. it bowed and it spread its wings and it wrapped me up in its wings, and it, as the more it wrapped me up, and it was like it was protecting me, this light came out of my heart and was shining on that cloud. The wings, the leather of it, the weird scales of it. It was like a smoky, leathery, scaly, dragony cloud with Christ and Hecate of all beings. Those two? Okay. It was the most intense experience I've had in a very long time. And I didn't fight it. I didn't run from it. I didn't like try to change it into anything. I just let it wash all over me, wash right through me. It was like veins turning black. It was like eyes turning black. I don't know what the fuck I looked like, but it felt like really dark energy, really demonic energy, the epitome of fear. And then this this moment of clarity happened where I noticed that light in me, and that fear wasn't affecting that light. But the more, and the light, I mean positive emotions, to put it bluntly, like plainly, a sense of peace, for example, or acceptance, or allowing, or surrender. When I noticed that, and I noticed this energy is like a cloud, a dragon cloud, or a being, a scale, whatever the fuck it was, in front of me and bowing in front of me, and I couldn't be afraid of it anymore. I couldn't even choose to feel fear in that way because I recognized fear is a gift. We're supposed to feel it so that we can move forward and use it. The most powerful moments we experience in life as a species, as gods, as angels, as demons, is when we're pushed to an extreme and then we fight back because we get to the bottom line of fear. And I didn't move. I didn't fight it. I didn't resist it. And then it all clicked. It's a gift, man. It's a fucking gift. And it can be used to control people. It can be used to help people and push people out of the way and navigate people this way and that way. It can be used to nudge. It can be used to transmute one energy into another. It's kind of like if you're mixing oil and water and you pour something else in oil and water and it combines the oil and water together. It's as if fear is a, I don't want to call it a coagulant because I don't know what the fuck that really means, but it feels like a coagulant. I think it's something where it brings things together. And it's been abused by people, but it had to be. It had to be used as a weapon against mankind. It had to be not used by the forces of light because it's an ability by the forces of the dark. But we are also light and dark. So why don't we utilize fear? Because we've been told to not feel it and not fear and fear it instead. What I'm more afraid of is that I chose to be afraid and weak. And that is what I was more upset at. Not that fear exists, not that people are fucking with me or were or whatever, but that I chose to feel stuck and immobilized, even for that moment where I was sitting in that meditative state. And all the moments in my life where I felt fear and I went the other way. I felt a sense of, anxiety, and I'm like, I'm not going down that street. Or I felt panic attacks at some supermarkets, and I would, leave the supermarket and the shopping cart right there because I was afraid for nothing. Now I recognize it. It's like a spider sense. It's a red flag. It's a notice. It's a spark. It's a fire. It's light in itself, but it's so far off from a good feeling that we don't recognize it as light because we associate good feelings with light and bad feelings with dark. But that post that said the keys of Hecate said that she's the mother of all, and then the night itself and the darkness. And I was looking at it like, what? And then to feel her and Christ next to me, and then to see that dragon creature, and then all the weird faces, the snake-like eyes and the fangs I would see floating in front of my face and back and forth, and then the angelic lights flying back and forth. I felt like I was sitting in a special effects scene. And I'm uncertain of how to explain this to you in words. I wish I could show you through like some, CGI visual effect so you could see what I saw. But I can't do that yet. So what I can do is tell you, please do not be afraid of fear. Be afraid of the weakness in you that has you choosing fear and stopping, instead of feeling that fear and commanding your body to strengthen with that fear. Like an adrenaline rush, like when people lift cars, when babies have like the strongest fucking grip when they're holding something and you're trying to get it out of their hand. It's power. Fear is power, but to use it to make others afraid is where it becomes corrupt. To use it to motivate and inspire and to strengthen others is a gift. But to be weakened by it, that's not okay. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you can comprehend this. If you can't, maybe someday I hope you can. But the next time you feel fear in your life, please recognize it is a gift. It is showing you that you are more capable than you realize. When I came back to the computer after I got done meditating and seeing all that, I lit some frankincense again, and I sat there and I spoke the words of transmutation, the specific words that I use usually to transmute different kinds of energies. And as soon as I pulled in that emotion of fear into me, and I allowed it to move through my left hand, into my heart, and out of my right hand, my entire body felt like it was shocked by electricity. And then everything just became still and quiet and peaceful. My internet connection went out, the electricity went out and came back after like 60 seconds, a minute or two. Everything got dark, everything came back to light. The rain stopped, and it was just peace. I felt like I pulled in so much fear into me from the world and transmuted it into peace. You guys can do this. Hi, peace and love. Thank you for coming. I had a feeling you would show up. I hope your life's been better. I've been keeping you guys in my prayers. I was saying a prayer earlier too after I got done yelling at God. I sat down and I realized, like, oh, this is what you were trying to teach me. You've been making me afraid all my life with all this stuff to get me to see how pointless feeling afraid is. It was like being thrown a water balloon, and instead of catching it, I kept letting it smack against my head and make me feel afraid and alone. You are quite welcome, my dear. You're quite welcome. There are many lessons. I don't know if you guys are going through this, but holy bananas, man. This was the most enlightening fucking experience of my life. I felt like I got slingshotted and catapulted to a whole new level. And I've been doing things against my fear for a very long time. Like every time I post a video, I'm fucking terrified of even recording, and then I click record and God takes over. This time I didn't let God take over when I felt that fear. I'm like, no, I'm mad at you. I'm gonna figure this out myself. And I was literally talking to God as if he was a person in front of me, like a partner, a brother, a sister. I'm like, no, I'm mad at you. You take care of everybody and you don't take care of me. You've left me abandoned. You left me alone and all this stuff. And I was just going off and off and off. And then God's like, look at what you're feeling. And I started laughing because I recognized, holy shit, I'm literally bitching out God while my life's being threatened and everything else. I'm not sitting here begging on my knees for mercy. I'm bitching God out. Like, how dare you do this to me? Everyone is you and you're threatening me with other people. And then I heard, why do you think I'm doing that? And I started laughing again and again. And then I saw a wolf in my mind. It was a white wolf, and then there was a black wolf, and then it turned into a gold wolf, and it howled at the moon, and the moon broke apart, and a fucking phoenix came out of it. And he's like, "That's you." And I broke so deep into tears, realizing, oh my God, all this abuse my entire life has been because I have been less than myself, and I didn't know what myself is. And all these people, all these gang stalkers, all these fucking ridiculous things happening in the world, they're happening to get us to step into who we are. Because we're not who we are when we're sitting there on bended knee, praying and begging and asking for help to be saved. And God's like, I'm not saving you. You don't need saving. All the emotions are your weapons, they're your shields. Use them. So I did. And I can't even begin to tell you the amount of, like, if I was a geneticist and I was seeing my DNA, I swear to God, I probably have like 8 strands, 12 strands, 47 strands, I don't know, 44 strands. I saw my DNA evolve, like more strands and more strands and more strands, like a tapestry weaving in on itself, forming a giant cord. And it was illuminated. It was like lit up and golden and shining and sparkly. And it just made sense in my mind. I've been better than all of this in all the ways I've been thinking and behaving, and I've been too afraid to be myself. And I've been so in tune to the entire planet that I've been feeling everyone else's fear and weakness and allowing it to affect me without even knowing that I was doing it. And I had to get to this point today where my life was literally threatened repeatedly, including in the building, until I gave up and I thought, I'm not even going to bother trying to defend myself. I'm just going to feel all of this and let it be. If I'm going to die, I'm going to go with, with peace in my heart. I'm not going to go with fear. If, God has the last say on when we're going to go, right? And if he's sending me messages that I'm going to go, then what am I going to do? Fight God? I bitched God out, didn't do much, really. He laughed at me for bitching him out, and he like tapped me on the head and said, hey, snap out of it. So I cannot possibly fathom or have sympathy or compassion for people that feel like they need to be saved. It's kind of funny to me now. And in a way, I know it sounds offensive to people when they're like, oh, you have to have compassion for the people's suffering. No, you don't have to have compassion for their suffering. You need to smack them out of that suffering because they're causing that suffering for themselves. And when I thought that, and I was having this argument with God and like listening to God in me, oh my God, it was like I finally comprehended why evil is evil. Evil isn't evil. Evil is the word live backwards, and it's evil to people who aren't living their life because they're living ass backwards. They're the walking dead. So, of course, life seems like it's evil to them. So, what do the elites do? They cull them, they torture them, they abuse them, they steal from them, they lie to them. Why? So the people can get pissed off. Why would they want them to get pissed off? So the people can fight back. Who are they going to fight back? Their own self and their own choices. But these people are too busy fighting each other over skin color, over borders, over gender and sexual identity and money that they miss the whole point of why they were being made to feel fear in the first place. Because fear is a motivator. It's not a fucking thing to keep people suppressed. And I wish I could give you the sense of clarity I have and like put it in your hearts so that you guys can get it. Please rewatch this video as many times as you need to comprehend this. Visualize what I'm saying. Feel it empathically if you can. Please. because fear is a gift. It's absolutely love, peace and love. It's absolutely love. It takes a deep amount of fucking love to see another child of God and to be a child of God and then to abuse that child of God to benefit it. And I know some of you don't comprehend that. Like, how can you abuse people? How is murder acceptable? How is mass genocide acceptable? Well, every time those things happened, how many more people chose love? And if they had chosen love and utilized fear to get up and defend themselves and to stand their ground and to put boundaries and to respect themselves and to love themselves and to find that God within them, to embrace the goddess and the God, if they would do that, wars wouldn't be needed. The only reason there are wars is because people need to figure out what the fuck they're fighting for. But instead, they go and shoot each other. It's like ridiculous. I mean, even the Aeons and the Archons work together, but we're sitting here saying the Archons are bad and the Aeons are good. It doesn't work that way. They're both working together. The Aeons aren't going to come and, archangels aren't going to come and mutilate somebody. That's what the archons do. That's what demons do. And the demons work with God. God made them. That's why they're still in existence. It's just like Satan and Lucifer. God made them. Why would God allow Satan to exist if it wasn't for a purpose that benefits life? So if it's a purpose that benefits life for Satan to exist and all the evil to exist, then what the fuck is the point? Instead of trying to banish it and return it to sender or like dissipate it, what is the gift in that evil? Yeah, absolutely, peace and love. Everything you said, 100% agree. I can't, like, things are going to get so different in the world, you guys. Absolutely a massive shift has fucking occurred. And I rarely ever say this, but I felt it. I felt it. I felt pure evil in front of me. I felt pure fear in front of me. And I was given no choice but to feel it and feel like I'm dying. I felt like I died. I laid down my life today. And then I'm still breathing. I'm still here. I'm still recording a video and I'm still bitching at God. And I'm still loved by God. I'm not afraid of anything, including the Creator. I don't comprehend it at all. And I feel like it's arrogance or something. And I'm trying to like argue myself out of it, but I cannot fear God. I cannot fear Satan. I cannot fear anybody. I will walk hand in hand with the devil and Jesus Christ, and I will do it lovingly because they are both family. So I don't fucking comprehend what the point of violence or war is being enacted by human beings. Like I said before in another video, it's like violence is a mental illness. There's no need to fight each other when the reason why we want to fight is because we want to fight the feeling in us, not the feeling in other people. There's nothing I can do against any of these gang stalkers, right? But yet I felt afraid. For what? When that feeling is in me and I can use that feeling and transmute it into another feeling and it's done by choice. So why would I not choose that? There's always a fucking choice. So why choose to perpetuate fear when I can use that fear as a fucking source of power and pull that fear in and fucking transmute it into money, into joy, into happiness, into health, into well-being, into fucking flowers if I wanted to. God said we have dominion over everything, right? So we have dominion over emotions and evil. So if I see a fucking giant Cthulhu or a Kraken, what am I gonna do? Be afraid of it? No, I'm gonna walk up to it and pet it. Hi, cutie. Like the fuck? I can't even like I cannot. I feel so ecstatically happy, and it's not even happy. It's something like joy. Yeah, I call it joy. Jesus, themselves, yourselves. Yeah, that. But it's like a fortified joy, like a joy where the J is a shield, the O is like the armor, and the Y is a sword in both hands. Take no shit, and give no shit. But oh my God, you guys, don't feed into people's victim mentality anymore. What you should do is be really blunt with them and snap them out of it. Piss them off, make them angry. Because when that common sense thread falls into their head, they're going to realize how embarrassing it is to be afraid, how embarrassing it is to be angry at anybody, how fucking humiliated they're going to feel for ever raising a hand to fight against anybody else or to harm anybody, because they will recognize how mentally ill they've been by committing acts of violence against their own species and themselves, and allowing their cellular structure to be committed violence against by their own choice to feel fear and be victimized by their own chemicals in their own body based on what other people say to them, do, or behave, or what they're shown. It's stupid. I cannot put it into any other words other than complete mental illness that people are behaving the way they've been. I felt it today. I felt that sickness. And I couldn't tolerate the thought of allowing fear into my life, especially with the thought of, like, oh, what if this is my last day on earth? Well, then I'm going to go eat shrimp. I'm going to take a nice bath. I'm going to drink myself a little glass of wine. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to listen to good music. And whenever the good Lord takes me, the good Lord takes me. What am I going to do? Is cower in a corner with a crucifix? Get the fuck out of here. Don't even say that they'll break your bones. Your bones are indestructible. People only let their body be damaged so that they can get sympathy. Recognize that. Every time somebody is damaged physically, what do they get? They get taken care of. They get cuddled. They get medical treatment. They get support. They get compassion. So what do? They throw themselves in front of fucking cars to get attention. They abuse each other. They go when somebody's denied sexual pleasure. What do? They go and fucking rape somebody. What do they feel afterwards? Complete guilt and shame. But what do they listen to? The chemicals in their body. I mean, seriously, people go and fucking kickbox and shit, and they get that out of their system, and they're healthy and vital, and they're beautiful, and their bodies are toned because they're channeling that anger out. But other people, they hold that anger in. They cast dark magic and accuse others of it. Like, I don't even fucking work with dark magic, but I can sense it. I send it back to sender. But now I realize returning it to fucking sender is me playing ping pong with these bitches. So if these bitches want to send dark magic, guess what? You just filled up my bank account with that dark magic because I'm just going to fucking transmute it into money or a daisy or a carnation. I don't know, but I'm not going to sit here and play ping pong with negative energy anymore. If you're going to send negative energy my way, I have now tools in my body and mind and soul that I'm going to use that for my benefit. So thank you. You don't need to click the fucking like button. The petty energy of those people stealing is plenty on the channel, and I can see it and feel it and turn it into gifts for myself. Thank you very much. Exactly. All the emotions are a gift. They're pathways to power, and not power to control anybody else, but power to control our own emotions, our own mindset. And then people are like, oh, we're mentally ill. We need to take medication. Bitch, you don't need medication. You need common sense. Oh, I have cancer and I'm dying and I need chemotherapy. Really? How much attention are you getting by pretending to be sick? Because God doesn't get cancer. So what the fuck do you think you are if you're pretending to have it? Like, at a fundamental level, people choose to be sick and to be fearful and to be victimized so that they can get attention. And I've, like, the way my body was doing it is I was letting people abuse me in some way because I felt so alone my entire life that I didn't defend myself with anything. I had no boundaries. I was like, well, okay, I guess that's another person that's going to abuse me. Oh, okay, that's another